I have a question. When was the last time you did something just for the fun of it? Not to make money, not to post on social media, not to try to impress anyone else, but just for your own pure hedonistic enjoyment. When was the last time you did a hobby? When I was younger, I had a lot of hobbies, like playing guitar and drums, going for bike rides and skateboarding, building saltwater aquariums and photography, all sorts of things that I was honestly mostly terrible at, but that I did anyways, because they made me happy. Then somehow, over the years, I kind of just gradually abandoned almost all of them one at a time without even realizing it. And it's not just like I grew out of these specific interests and replaced them with new hobbies. That would be fine, but no, that's not what happened. Over the years, all of these activities have been replaced with nothing, really. And I know for a fact that this isn't at all unique to me. Hobbies overall are dying. The very things that used to make life worth living, that used to spark joy and creativity and fulfillment, and that often form the basis of our personalities and our self-expression, are somehow fizzling out and disappearing. What the hell is happening? How did we get here? So, I don't think we can have this conversation without starting at the most obvious elephant in the room, which is the degradation of our attention spans. And at the risk of sounding like your boomer parents, yes, our phones and social media are largely to blame. Smartphones make our lives easy. Before them, we had to carry around separate items for listening to music, taking photos, reading, playing video games, journaling, and of course, various other more utilitarian tasks as well. But now, our phones condense all of it to fit neatly in our pocket. So convenient, so minimalist. But the thing is that each of these items serves one specific purpose. So when we'd use them, we'd give them our undivided attention and use them exactly as we meant to. But how easy is it for you to reach for your phone for one specific reason or another, only to get sucked into a rabbit hole of doom scrolling or something else completely unrelated to whatever it is you meant to do? I know there have been many times when I've grabbed my phone to quickly Google something or maybe to send someone a message, only to find myself sitting there 30 minutes later watching idiotic Instagram reels or scrolling Reddit and having completely forgotten whatever it was I had intended to do. And make no mistake, the ability to draw you in and waste your time is a very intentional part of the design. Endless social media scrolling and short-form video content has fried our brains and destroyed our attention spans. It's become so easy to get completely sidetracked with nonsense when you want to listen to music, or read, or play a game, or do whatever it is you want to do. And the ease of it is precisely the problem. Picking up a new hobby, whether it's something like making art, or learning a musical instrument, or trying a new sport, these things are hard. They take effort, especially if you want to become good at them. But doom scrolling is easy. It takes no effort. There's no learning curve, no chance to embarrass yourself by being bad at it. Hell, you can even do it while you poop. Most people gravitate to hobbies to cure boredom, but thanks to our smartphones, boredom doesn't really exist anymore, at least not in the way that it used to. Sitting alone in a room used to mean counting the dots on the ceiling, so hell yeah, you'd rather draw or paint or go for a bike ride. But now you can just watch reels and send dumb memes to your friends to pass the time. You never really have to be bored. But boredom is so important. Boredom sparks curiosity. Boredom is the reason that so many of your favorite bands first picked up a guitar or a set of drumsticks. Boredom is the reason that so many of your favorite directors and filmmakers first picked up a camera. Without boredom, we probably wouldn't have any music or movies or art. And our phones are turning that dystopia into a real possibility. But are our stupid, dopamine-addicted monkey brains really to blame? Not entirely. The desire for low-effort, easy dopamine hits is not always the result of laziness or apathy, though, I guess sometimes it is. But in a lot of cases, it's the result of burnout, both from work and from life as a whole. The world is a pretty chaotic place to be right now, between the nonstop civil unrest and international wars, climate change bringing fires and floods and earthquakes, mass political corruption, the cost of living, and oh, did you guys hear that polio might be making a comeback? That sounds like fun. So yeah, I guess it's not that hard to see how someone can feel existentially overwhelmed, and then of course, none of that changes the fact that you still have to get up and go to work, and do laundry, and grocery shop, and figure out what to make for dinner every night for the rest of your life. So if for the brief amount of time you get to yourself every evening after you've done everything you needed to do, you really can't be bothered to do anything else, I get it. But realistically, doing nothing but going to work and coming home and then eating and sleeping and rinsing and repeating day after day, week after week is also a one-way ticket to burnout. So you become burnt out and then do nothing, which makes you feel more burnt out. So you do more nothing. It's not a great cycle to be in. And let's talk about going to work. We have a cost of living crisis going on. Housing prices are absurd, which means more people having to move further and further from their job, leading to longer commute times, which of course means less leisure time, and even still, 65% of Americans and 47% of Canadians still say they're living paycheck to paycheck. That means less disposable income to allocate to hobbies, as well as an increased need for additional sources of income. Enter the side hustle. This segment of the video is admittedly a tough one for me to be objective about because, honestly, I'm a huge fan of side hustles. I've always had one or two on the go at all times, and I've gained huge financial benefits from having them, and I've advocated time and time again for you guys to find one too. And I do still stand by all of that because, for me at least, the pros have far outweighed the cons, but there absolutely are cons. In this side hustle culture we're living in, we are constantly encouraged to monetize our hobbies. You're a good baker? Well, you should get a stand at the farmer's market then. You can cross-stitch? You should sell that shit on Etsy. You love dogs? Become a dog walker. You're good at photography? Well, why aren't you shooting weddings? I mean, what could possibly be better than getting paid to do something you enjoy? Maybe if you're really lucky, it could even become your full-time job eventually, and you could do that thing that you love all day, every day, under parameters set by someone else, whether or not you're in the mood to do it. And if you don't do it well enough or fast enough, your family will starve, but hey, don't think about that. Now, just quickly on the topic of taking care of your family, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Delete Me. There are companies out there called data brokers, and their entire purpose is to buy and sell your personal information. Things like your name, your current and past addresses and phone numbers, your occupation and workplace, your health records, legal history, political affiliations, and even information about your family. You know, the things that should be private? Well, they collect up all this data and then sell it to people and companies who can then use it to stalk and harass you or to discriminate against you when it comes to things like employment or access to healthcare. They can use it to dox or scam you or even to steal your identity. Go ahead and Google yourself or a family member, and you'll be shocked at what kind of information is just floating around out there for anyone to find. But Delete Me can restore your privacy and peace of mind by routinely searching the internet for your personal information and then submitting deletion requests to have it taken down from anywhere it doesn't belong. Then they send you a quarterly report showing you everything they found and removed. I've been personally using Delete Me for over a year now because I value my privacy, and I'm willing to bet that you do too. So head over to joindeleteme.com/Nicole and use the code Nicole to get 20% off your US consumer plan. Side hustle culture has wreaked havoc on hobbies. It's destroyed the idea of doing something strictly for your own enjoyment because if you're remotely skilled at anything, inevitably someone will come along and whisper in your ear that you should be turning it into a business. And again, it's a catch-22 because monetizing your hobby is the easiest way to kill your enjoyment of it, but also in a world where doing so is an option, opting not to can make you feel like you're leaving money on the table, likely money that you could really use. And this can be taken to such a point that doing a hobby just for the sake of doing it can almost feel like a waste of time. Like it makes you feel guilty for relaxing. And yes, I know how toxic that sounds, but that's hustle culture in a nutshell. Anytime you aren't spending in pursuit of money is time wasted. Why bother doing arts and crafts when you could be collecting those dollary dues instead?
$900 dues!
Like I said, I'm very guilty of this. I loved playing music and I was great at sales, so I combined those two things and started buying and reselling musical instruments. I enjoyed doing it, and it made me a lot of money at a time when I really needed it. But finding a great deal on a guitar that I've always wanted no longer really felt like a personal score. It just felt like an easy way to make a few $100. And I did, over and over again, until all that gear that used to excite me became something that I literally called inventory. If you're more capable of moderation than I am, making a little money from something you find fun can still be a good thing in my opinion, but you should have other things that you do truly just for yourself. Okay, so what's the consensus here? Do people just straight up not have hobbies at all anymore? Yeah. Well, no, but also yeah. It's not really that people don't have hobbies, but that it's often that things we're now calling hobbies aren't really hobbies, at least not in my opinion. When asked what they do for fun, many people today will say things like cooking or fitness. Those are two of the most common answers. And maybe this is a hot take, but cooking and fitness aren't hobbies. They're things you have to do so you don't die. And while it may not be monetary, you're still gaining tangible benefit from it over and above relaxation and fun. That benefit being the assurance that you won't end up on My 600-Pound Life.
Hello.
If you genuinely get enjoyment from cooking and working out, that's great, but that's a bonus feature. It's not the main reason you're doing it. And I say that as someone who does genuinely enjoy those things. I like cooking, and I'm pretty good at it too. I like to try new recipes and tinker with kitchen gadgets, like my backyard pizza oven I picked up earlier this summer. It's fun to play with. But mostly, I'm just trying to feed myself without breaking the bank and getting fat on takeout. Same with fitness. Working out is something I look forward to. Some of you guys have asked if I still have the Peloton that I picked up last year, and the answer is no, as I didn't want to keep paying nearly $70 a month for the subscription. So I got rid of it a while ago, and I got this bike instead. It's the Yesol GM1 Plus, and it's basically exactly the same as a Peloton, but it's less than half the price. The screen rotates, and instead of paying for an expensive subscription, I can just connect my phone and cast YouTube videos or whatever I want to the screen unlimitedly for free. So I actually think it's way better, and I do have a link that I'll leave in the description box, and I even have a discount code to get you guys $100 off. But my point is that while it's great to find enjoyment in your normal day-to-day routines, they shouldn't take the place of actual hobbies. And the fact that they have for so many of us is just another symptom of hustle culture brainwashing us, convincing us that the things that improve our health or save us money or increase our productivity are the only things worthy of our time. But with all of that said, there is still one hobby that is incredibly popular. In fact, it seemingly becomes more and more popular every single year. It's shopping. Shopping has always been a favorite pastime of North Americans, and services like Amazon Prime have only made it easier and more accessible. And while I struggle to consider shopping to be a legitimate hobby, it does often intersect with real hobbies in a way that is just so quintessentially capitalistic. Like, for example, you get into music and then you spend more time shopping for gear than you do playing your instrument. Or you get into photography and you obsess about cameras and lenses and filters and all sorts of gadgets more than you obsess about actually becoming a half-decent photographer. So much of Hobbies has just become about shopping for equipment and finding ways to justify buying more stuff to the point that you almost get more joy out of shopping and collecting gear than you do from actually using it. Or like from buying clothes that you'll never even wear. And again, in a way, I kind of get it. Like, buying new stuff is fun, but you generally don't need much to do most hobbies, and if you're getting more joy from shopping than you are from using the things you've bought, what's the point? But of course, collecting is nothing new, and for a lot of people, it is in itself a hobby, I guess. People collected Beanie Babies and sports cards and Crazy Bones. Remember Crazy Bones? There were Pokemon cards, and then Funko Pops, and now apparently Labubus. Before the internet was what it is now, I could see how collecting whatever memorabilia from whatever band or movie or show you like could be fun. It was an experience where you'd go and line up for things and meet friends who were into the same nerdy shit that you were into. People would camp out and attend conventions or whatever. Like, I think it was more about the experience than about the items themselves. I am admittedly quite out of the loop with all of this kind of thing, but I think it does still exist to a certain extent, at least within certain niches. Like, I've seen videos online of people buying Pokemon cards at conventions of some sort. But by and large, collecting now mostly just looks like sitting alone at home on your computer, placing an online order for something which will arrive in a few days and then promptly be put on a shelf or in a box and never be looked at again. It's strictly about consumption for the sake of consumption. And is that a hobby? I don't think it is, but feel free to argue with me in the comments if you disagree. The entire point that I'm trying to make with this video is that hobbies play an integral role in our happiness as living, breathing, sentient creatures. We seem to be the only species that stops playing after a certain age, and I can't help but feel that it's all just because of societal conditioning. Like, look at Levi. He's 13 and a half, which is the equivalent of him being in his 70s or 80s if he was a human. And he has a terminal heart condition, by the way, but his desire to play hasn't changed a bit from the time he was a puppy. Age and health be damned, he just wants to have fun, and I think he's got it right. Hobbies provide us with a level of personal fulfillment and satisfaction that nothing else does. They're the only things that we do specifically for ourselves without ulterior motives like money or status. And when we abandon them, we're left with nothing that is just for us. And when that happens, your identity and your self-worth will find something else to attach itself to. Like your lame-ass job. Gross. So in effort to not become a work-addicted, money-obsessed, personality-less drone, I've been going back to my hobbies and looking for new ones. In the last few months, I've started going for bike rides again. I finally took my drums out of my mom's basement and set them up at my place. It only took me 6 years. You're welcome, Mom. I did a pottery class back in January, and I sucked shit at it, but I had fun, and that was literally my only goal. Remember that, by the way, you don't have to be good at things to enjoy them. You can still make art and music and play sports, even if you're bad at them. That's the whole point of it not being your job. It doesn't matter if you suck, just enjoy it. In a world that is so hung up on productivity and self-improvement and the grind, I would almost go as far as to say that having leisurely hobbies, dedicating time to doing things you enjoy just because you can, is a radical act. It's spitting in the face of everyone and everything that tells you that no matter how hard you work, you should be working harder. Because honestly, there is so much more to life. If you like this video, like the video, make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You can follow me on Instagram at according_to_Nicole. Don't forget to check out Delete Me. The link will be in the description box down below, or you can scan this QR code. And let me know in the comments, what are your hobbies? Or do you feel like you've struggled to maintain hobbies as you've gotten older? Do you feel like your phone sucks you away from the things you actually want to be doing? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Other than that, thank you guys so much as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.